Everybody for playing tonight. Okay, so we're going to be doing this a little bit different. Caro, thank you for coming and joining us this evening.
My pleasure.
We love a game night, so this is going to be so much fun. But as you guys know, we have sent out, circulated throughout the evening, a link for you to click on in the chat. If you haven't had a chance to either download your own copy of the bingo card, which you can see advertised to my left over here, from Caro's website, or the link that we put into the chat. Go ahead and click either of those. You can play along with us. We're going to have 4 winners this evening, and we'll tell you how that winning situation will work. But as you get the bingo, just keep it with you. If you have the printed version and you're marking it on that, you're going to want to take a picture if you win this evening. And if you are using the digital one, a little X will come up for you and we'll be ready to go. Okay. Just making sure anybody can't click it. Yeah. So if you are having issues clicking it, go ahead and just put it in copy and paste. Or if it's really struggle, go ahead and just open up the one from Caro's website. Okay. So Caro, before we get started with our game of bingo, I would love if you wouldn't mind telling us a little bit about yourself and how you got started writing.
Okay. So I'm Caro Carson. I live in Orlando, Florida, like Lorelei does.
Oh.
And you have me thinking of cookies. So I do have to say that I would buy the black and white cookies from the deli, because there's no way at home I would wait for cookies to cool and then make 2 kinds of frosting. The cookies would be gone before the frosting thing happened. So, so I've been writing full time now for about 10 years. And before that, I worked for Pfizer, who's been in the news so much with the vaccine. And then before that, I was an officer in the Army. So I always talk about it's a very non-traditional way to become an author is to be an officer in the Army. But yes. I got my degree from West Point, and if you graduate from West Point, you will serve in the Army. Wow. So I was an MP. So I always say I could handcuff you if I had to, but I would then
prefer not to
for a month afterward.
That is so wild. So what got you to West Point?
I mean, I'm going to blame my parents because they said there were 6 of us. We were like the Brady Bunch, right? His, hers, and ours. And there were 6 of us, and they're like, you are all going to college and you are all going to find a way to pay for it. And so my older brother actually went to Florida Southern, but he did ROTC. And so that started the whole thinking that, oh, well, military, that's one way to get your college paid for. You just have to dedicate years of your life in return, which when you're 18, you're like, yeah, big deal. So,
oh man,
so that started me thinking about it.
I love that. Well, and then, to take such a wild path from Army to private citizen to author. I mean, that's a wealth of just like so many stories that you can put into your books.
And I do tend to I had a whole 6-book series called Texas Rescue. I was stationed at Fort Hood, Texas. And so all the characters there are either ER docs, who I actually know a ton of ER docs from working with Pfizer, and cardiologists, one of them was. And then I haven't gotten to publish the police officer yet, but I've done a couple firemen, but they all work for this Texas Rescue fictional mobile hospital thing. So I do get to put it all in there.
Oh, that's so cool. So then what was it about romance that just kind of sparked you and made you that was what you wanted to write?
Well, I remember reading my first romance, and my mom actually got it in the mail. And I've talked to some editors at Harlequin since, and they said, yes, when Silhouette was the Silhouette special edition came out, it was competing with Harlequin. Now it's part of it. Right. But they actually did like a mass mailing and mailed a free book to like 1 million people. And my mom's like, I'm not going to read this. Do you want to read it? And I was like 14 or 15. And it was the Almost Kiss, on the cover. And I was like, yes, I do want to read this. And it was very educational. I don't think my mom knew if it was, I was like, why is he kissing her breast? I didn't understand that.
I always felt like, if we're at home reading the books rather than living them, that's probably for the best.
That's right. And it's good because then you're like, I don't think I'm really ready for all that. So, I devoured, then I found that whole shelf in the public library full of little white books, and I read. I'm proud of myself. I started singling out like Nora Roberts and just blanked out. Janet Daly, which is ironic because of course they had a big court battle, but I just spent a whole summer where I read a book a day, which I'm sure everybody here has done that. You just read a book a day. So I feel like I was ingrained in my teenage brain. So I like the pacing of it I have down. I don't really think about it, when I write. And then I went to West Point, and you had to read all kinds of, college stuff, depressing things.
Yeah.
And I think
all
that's
the
a big
sad
deal.
writers.
I hate getting all invested in these characters and like they die.
Yes, exactly. For the
or,
longest time, it's like romance only ended in death. Real love was only immortalized by death.
Or if a woman wanted to be independent or leave her husband or whatever, then she would die. That was like the price you paid. So then my mom again handed me a book. She handed me Jude Devereux's Knight in Shining Armor when that came out. And I knew nothing about it. She just handed it to me. And if my mom gives me a book, I read it. She's got great taste in books. But I just opened it and started reading, and I was like, it's a time travel for anybody who doesn't know that book. It's like kind of the time travel. And I was just like reading it. I'm like, wait a minute. This guy's really from the past. Like he actually came forward from Elizabethan England and all that. And that did it. I mean, from that point on, I started reading Jude Devereux's backlist, and that just pure romance from that point on.
Oh my gosh.
Pass and all that. Yeah. I needed it. I needed all that happy stuff when you're a cop, when you're an Army officer, or even with Pfizer, I was in with cardiologists and ER docs and all that. It's a lot of tragedy all the time. There's a lot of tragedy in the world. So I feel like if I'm going to spend my money and my free time, they can be tragic, but they got to end right. They have to end with the good guys win and the right people belong together.
Wow. And I bet as a writer, you take that into heart when you're crafting your stories too. Like you want to make sure that the reader is really having the best escape during their time when they spend it with you. I
actually do that. Because I'm not a big plotter. I just start writing, and I'll sit back and be like, I have no idea what happens next. And then I'll think, what would be like the coolest thing a man could do? And I'll have him do that, whatever it is. Because I do feel like people are shelling out their $5.99. They should get a book where the guy is just like so incredibly awesome, get to escape into that. I love that. Well, it's so interesting. So do your heroes come to you first? Mostly, I would say almost all my books are hero driven. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, that's so interesting.
I like the guys.
What can you say? I get it. I like the boys too.
I tell my husband they're all him. There's a little piece of him in all of them.
That's so sweet.
Might be a little piece of other guys too, but
but it's still him. That's fine.
It always is.
So tell us a little bit about your latest book. I'm going to move my head out of the way for Gingerbread and Jingle Bells, your latest holiday romance.
It came out actually in an anthology, so it's short. It's a novella. But it's long enough. I'm really flattered. I had quite a few reviews are like, for a short story, there's a lot going on. So that's good. I feel like really I got whole characters in there, and there's a meddling grandma, and let's see, what else can I tell you about it? I really wrote it for myself. I had just turned in the third book on a contract for Harlequin, and then that book had not gone well. I was just pulling teeth, and I was just in a bad spot emotionally. And I was going to write this project with a friend who is Terry Wilson. Someone's reading her Christmas charms.
Oh, we love Terry.
Yeah. So it was Terry's idea. And I was like, I'm just going to write this for me. And I actually said most of it takes place in the 1980s.
Oh, cool.
And, which is, it's one of those things like, you can only write Regency England if you're writing historical and stuff like that. And the 1980s aren't that historical, but I had a good time looking up 1980s clothes. I'm like, oh yeah, I had that dress. So it's not too heavy on the 80s, but she is very proud of herself for breaking through glass ceilings, and at that time, just from when I worked, I shouldn't have said the name of my company, but people still felt free to say, oh, when you get married and have a baby, you're going to quit. We know it. They felt free to say that to your face. And I did not, of course, quit. I actually had a baby. I was the first person who came back in my district from maternity leave.
That is amazing, Caro.
I went on to be like top in the nation. So I was like,
yeah, absolutely.
All these guys who were like, anyway, so there's a little bit of that, a little bit of the tension in there. And then there's always the pull of going back home to your small town. It's a cute small town, and it's like, you know, you want to be in your small town, but you also want to be the big city girl, and how's she going to reconcile that? That book is actually more heroine driven than hero.
Oh, that's so cool. So yeah, with crafting your small towns, do you like do you have a different one in mind each time, or do you kind of just reimagine the same one and then just, I know that's a little bit different, but I'm just so interested in how when you're creating small towns, they always become sort of like another character in the book a lot of the times.
Thanks. Yeah, my mom grew up in Clarion, Pennsylvania. So Clarion is the typical, I mean, it has a main street that's called Main Street, you know, and it has a church and a library and the city hall. And I mean, it's just so adorable, and it's a college town. And what's funny, on the side, there was a movie, a Hallmark movie, and it opened with an aerial view of Clarion. And everybody in Clarion's like, hey, that's our town. Like they used that, like the little thing zoomed in, and it's like the perfect small town. And so I went there for my summers. I would go stay with my grandparents there. And I just thought it was the best thing. So basically, Masterson, Texas is my small town I set a lot of books in. It's basically Clarion, Pennsylvania, just outside of Austin.
I love it.
So there's Main Street, there's a bakery on Main Street, and you know, it's fun. And it's a college town, because I thought if you're in a college town, you could actually have like a cupcake shop that would actually stay in business, because all the college kids need to go there and drink coffee and do their homework and stuff. And so it's been fun. I've had like college coaches and people come and go, and it's good.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's actually a perfect opportunity too, to just kind of have characters pop in and out, because, you know, when you're a college kid or even just around it, it's a very finite amount of time.
Right. And it's interesting, you know, colleges are magnets for interesting people. So like one of the books that I'm going to give away as a prize for this Christmas only. So she's returning very late. She's almost 30, and she's going back to finish her degree. And he is the returning alumni. You know, they invite the alumni to come back and be the speaker, and he has become a billionaire. So he's the billionaire alumni who wrote a self-help book, or like a how to succeed in business book that inspired her. So
that's awesome. I love it. All right. Well, that is a good transition into our game for the evening. So Caro, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to play this game. We're going to figure it out together, see how this goes.
I had to print one out too.
I love it. I love it. I am going to go ahead and take us off of this spotlight so that I can see everybody. That way, if anyone wants to have their screens on, they can also play along. I know we've been having some issues with that. Okay. So go ahead and put yourselves, if you'd like, go ahead and put yourselves on with your cameras on. If you don't want to, if you're feeling shy, of course, don't feel pressured. Hopefully you had a chance to grab the bingo card, either a printed version or using the link that was in the chat. And we're going to get going. And then Caro, how this is going to work is each of these options I'm going to have are going to be a question for you. You're going to answer it. And when Caro answers it, you guys get to dab on your spot, either using the little click on your screen or an actual pen or whatever. Your answer, the first 4 people who have bingo this evening, we're going to have a prize for you. Caro's going to be giving away 2 things, and Fresh Fiction is also going to be giving away a couple of other items. So you'll call bingo, just like any sort of game of bingo, hold it up and we'll see it. Or if you want to do a screen share, or actually you can't do screen shares, I'll just trust you. Okay, here we go. Okay, let's see. Caro, how do you feel about,
go ahead. I think somebody has a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was me. So for bingo, are we doing a single line? Is it a blackout?
Oh, yes, good question.
What kind of bingo?
Let's do, I would say just traditional. So down, across, diagonal. Yeah, no black. I don't think we need to do blackout. Maybe we'll do blackout for the last one if we get there. But yeah, I think for now we'll do like the first 3. We'll probably just do whoever gets the first ones. Okay. Is there, and then Mary had a question. Yes, if you don't have audio and you don't have video, just go ahead and say bingo in the chat. And then hopefully if I don't see it, one of our wonderful co-hosts will grab it and say, Gwen, pay attention to the chat. You don't have to say it that way, but you can do what you need. Okay. Any other questions before we get started with our virtual bingo game? Okay, cool. Awesome. Sure. All right. So Caro, how do you feel a big city contrasts and compares with a small town?
Am I supposed to like do an answer that's on this card?
Well, the question is the answer. So if you see that question,
big city versus small town. Yeah.
Yep. So which is your preference, a big city versus a small town?
I kind of would prefer a big city because I like to go to like live ballets and things, and not a lot of small towns have that, unless they're college small towns.
Very true. Let's see, next call. All right. Have you seen, what is the last book that you read that you loved that had a new person arriving in town? Oh, I'm sorry. What was, yes, I want to know that. Yeah, your last book that you read that, these questions are very confusing on my end. I apologize.
I'm like, the last one that I read where a new person came to town. Well, I'm in the middle of reading it still. It's called A Spot of Trouble by Terry Wilson. And a new firefighter with a Dalmatian comes to town, and she lives there and she has a Dalmatian. So how dare he steal her Dalmatian spotlight?
I love that. Okay, so our next one. Of your latest releases, anything from the last 2 years, if you'd like, what was the biggest secret one of your heroes kept? That's what I want to.
The book is conveniently titled The Bartender's Secret. And his secret is that he is a convicted felon who's done his time, but the heroine can't figure out why he thinks he's not good enough for her, but he knows that when you have a felony record, you have it forever. So
true.
So the bartender's secret was a big secret.
That is a big old secret. Okay, so tell us, what is I need you to describe to me your ideal tree trimming scene, either in one of,
In a romance, I mean, the ideal tree trimming scene would be probably just the two of them. So it's more romantic. If they're getting to know each other, whoever's tree it is, usually there's those ornaments like, oh, I made this in 5th grade kind of thing, or I bought this ornament on a vacation. So it would be a good way for them to get to know each other like that. And of course, lights down low, music on the radio. It could be a very romantic.
That crackling fire.
Yes, the whole thing. Lay it on me.
I love it so much. All right, Caro, how do you like to take your hot chocolate?
With peppermint schnapps.
Ooh, delicious. I love it. Going over to Caro's for Christmas.
Yes. Bloody Marys in the morning, hot chocolate with peppermint schnapps at night, and we're just happy all day.
I love it. And then maybe some Parker House rolls in the middle for sustenance.
Yes, totally. I feel you.
Okay, so tell us about your latest read, your latest book that had a couple stranded together in it.
Oh, well, I've only done one stranded, and it was called A Texas Rescue Christmas, and it actually won the RITA award for short contemporary. And yes, he saves her life, and they escape into this little cabin to wait out the night, and they have to share a sleeping bag. I actually got this one from the military too, because I went to survival school in the Air Force, and in survival school they make you practice how to warm somebody up from hypothermia, and you have to strip down, and then you get the sleeping bag together, and has to be bare skin on bare skin, like you would do a newborn, bare skin on bare skin. And so that gives you all kinds of wonderful possibilities if he happens to be a really good man and totally handsome, and she's a really good girl, and and we get to test just how good are they.
I love it so much. Okay, so now I just have a random follow-up question that is not a bingo question at all.
Okay.
What was the hardest thing at survivalist school?
Food. I got so hungry. I mean, so hungry. And they wanted us to eat frogs and crap. I'm like, I'm not that hungry.
No. I'm not Bear Grylls. Get out of here.
There's we're in Pikes Peak where nothing grows. And there's these survivalist sergeants who are like, they're experts at this. And they would just kind of creep around, keep an eye on you. And I saw one of these survivalists went over this tree and he pulled up a certain plant and he ate the roots. Man, I was over there. I pulled up that plant. I'm like, hey, I know it's safe to eat. And I chowed down on whatever it was. But hunger was the worst thing.
Yeah, that would be really hard for me as well. That and sleeping on the ground, I don't like either of those things. Like, it's not. Mm-mm.
You would really hate it.
Yeah. I think I won't survive very long. That's what I'm learning. That's what I've accepted.
Oh, you will. You would. You can do what you got to do.
That is true. Okay, so tell us about a hero that is starstruck to see a heroine all dressed up.
Oh, that was Gingerbread and Jingle Bells. They were like best friends in 5th grade, and now they're just seeing each other as grown-ups. And he's taking her to the town Christmas dance. Like I said, you gotta just really do it right. And so she comes down her grandmother's staircase all dressed up, and he's never seen her as an all dressed up grown-up, you know. So he's a little bold over.
Hey, Gwen, we have a bingo.
Bingo!
Yay! Mary.
Mary.
Look at you. I'm so proud of you, Mary.
Good
okay.
for you in the middle of your storm.
That's awesome. Okay, so Mary, we'll figure out how to get your prize to you, but I've got you down, Mary, as our first winner. Okay, cool. We continue on our
Everybody
journey.
close? Anybody else getting close? No?
Maybe. All right, here's the next one, Caro. I know that this is probably a hard one to pick, but what is your favorite scene that you wrote involving a couple kissing under mistletoe? If you have one.
I don't think I wrote a couple kissing under mistletoe. I don't think I've written that. I think that was in a movie. One of my books got made into a movie, and the movie had very little to do with the book.
Tell us about the movie.
It was very interesting. It's called Hometown Holiday. It's actually on Netflix this year. I've seen it there, and it's really charming. It's fun to see what they kept and what they changed. They threw in extra handsome men, and I'm totally for that. So one of them's Kevin McGarry. So I'm like, yes, you may put him in my movie. That's fine.
Oh my gosh.
So they changed the heroine's job in the movie. She became a florist. In my book, she was like refinishing houses, which is much less glamorous. But they made her a florist, and then they could do every change of season. She had a different bouquet. So, when it's summer and spring and fall, and so winter they had a mistletoe.
I love it. All right. Next one. Our next question is a heroine who has a secret.
I wrote these, and I don't remember which of my own. Oh, I know which one. A Cowboy's Wish Upon a Star. She is a movie star hanging out on the Texas cattle ranch to hide from the paparazzi, and her secret that the handsome foreman doesn't know is that she's pregnant. But so that's another reason she's hiding on this cattle ranch. So the paparazzi won't find out she's pregnant either. So that's about the biggest secret.
That is a perfect book for Lady Sarah, our resident secret baby lover.
Oh, there you go. Cowboy's Wish Upon a Star.
Okay, tell us a little bit about a holiday dance scene.
Oh, that was Gingerbread and Jingle Bells too. I just loved it. I did have them do the chicken dance because, every dance you go to has the chicken dance. But they stay out for the slow ones too. And you can waltz to the Christmas waltz. And he kind of waltzes her into a corner. They're by the lights of the tree on the last dance. You always get last dance. I think dances are just set up for romance. There's all kinds of romantic moments.
So true. It's like everybody's so pretty and like on their best behavior,
And you get
they're up to something.
May I have this dance is always a romantic line. And then, ladies and gentlemen, get your partners for the last dance of the night. That's just set up for some big pathos right there. And
I love it.
I would have every single couple dance in every single book.
I was going to say, I feel like every book is just benefited by a dance. I don't feel the same way about movies, but I definitely feel that way about a book. All right. Our next question is a pretend relationship or dating. Could be your book, another book, any book you want, whatever pops in your head.
It's a hard one to really pull off, because in contemporaries, because I write contemporaries. But, I know I had a marriage. My very first book was Dr. Soldier Daddy, and it was a marriage of convenience. But of course, she was madly in love with him, but he was just really needed help raising this baby. it's his baby that was orphaned in the war and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And of course it ends up being more than a marriage of convenience at the end, but it did. But she, she's like, no one's going to believe that you really wanted to marry me, because she's a little humble, plain Jane, and he's the dashing ER doc. And it bugs him that people think he wouldn't marry her. And so he pretends, he puts his arm around her, and he's really affectionate with her in public because he wants to save her feelings. He doesn't want her to be embarrassed. So.
Oh, that's so sweet. Okay. Our next one, also very sweet. I would love you to tell us about some of your adorable dogs in your book.
I got bingo.
Ooh, yay, Madison.
Congratulations.
Congrats, lady. All right, got you down. All right, we've got 2 more prizes, y'all. Okay, sorry, adorable doggies.
In the title, Gingerbread and Jingle Bell, Jingle Bells is the dog. And the hero is a vet now, see, and he found this dog on the streets, and he's trying to get her manners, but she still steals food a lot like a stray dog would. And she's stealing a lot of gingerbread from Grandma's bakery. So
I don't blame her. It's one of my favorites too.
I was to make her but she comes in and she kind of ruins the first. That's how they meet, is his dog is like eating something that she was supposed to deliver to a party for her grandmother. So.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Do you have fun writing dogs?
I do. They're so cooperative. You can make them do anything you like.
That's very
like humans. You have to be a little more realistic with, maybe, but the dogs do cute stuff all the time. This was just a plain brown dog with a pink tongue.
Oh, so cute though. It's the perfect dog. Okay. Next question. A humble gifts exchange.
Oh, that was the Texas Rescue Christmas, because they got rescued from the little snowed-in cabin, but then they're at his ranch house, and they had no desire to go into Austin and go Christmas shopping. And instead, she made him a little booklet of like coupons, like kids do, make coupons. And so she made him all these little coupons, and he loved it.
Awesome. Alrighty. Ooh, okay. This is one of my
favorites. Gwen, we have a bingo.
Yay, Tina! Congratulations.
Yay!
That's awesome. Did we have another bingo, or was it just Tina?
Just Tina.
Okay. All right,
That's
everybody.
3.
That's 3.
That's
okay.
Great. I'm pretty sure Tina's working overtime, so that was good. I'm glad she was able to win a prize.
That's fantastic. Okay. So I said that we would do blackout this round. How do y'all feel about that? Do you want to keep going, or do you want to just keep doing it just traditional? All right. Let's see. Let's see where I'm trying to see how many more I have.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Okay. Yeah, we'll just do this as a traditional, because I might be running out of questions. So again, T, an X, or not a T, but
this way,
one side of a diagonal line, a straight up and down line, or a horizontal line.
Hi, this is Tina.
Hey, Tina.
Yay! Myself. I don't have the video on because I am working.
So. Oh, that's okay. No problem. I got you down, Tina. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Did you need a picture or something? I'm using the automated card.
No, you just tell me what number.
Hang on. It's number 19.
All righty. Thank you, Tina. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, this is one of my favorite sort of stories that always happen around the holidays, because, we're all going home at some point, but old friends reunited.
That was
Alyson.
Oh,
Alyson. Bingo.
Okay, thanks, Alyson. Okay, sorry, Caro. Go ahead, Caro.
Well, that's Gingerbread and Jingle Bells. So the book, actually the first chapter is them in 5th grade on a freak snowstorm in Central Texas. And they're the only 2 that show up at school. Everybody else got the telephone tree going through town about how school's closed because there's snow, and they don't want the children to freeze to death, because in Texas, no children don't have snow boots and things. And so they spend the whole day together at her grandma's bakery. And then the next chapter, that scene's over, and then it's 15 years later, and she's coming back down to town, and there's another freak snowstorm. And she has no idea that he has come back to town and is now a very
of course not
veterinarian. But she's going to find out when his dog eats her gingerbread.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for playing along with us tonight. I'm going to open the floor up for our readers to ask Caro any follow-up questions for the next like 15-ish minutes before we say goodbye to her.
It's been so fun.
This was so much fun. Thank you for being such a sport and enjoying as we figured this all out. I'm going to go ahead and turn the recording off now.